Hello everyone. Now we are going to start Herbert Spencer. Herbert Spencer is the father of social evolution. He was a leading figure in the intellectual revolution of 19th century. Spencer was considered the second founding father of sociology only after Auguste Comte. Herbert Spencer was evolutionist and very much influenced by Darwin. Spencer in his own time was enormously influential and played a significant role in the development of biology, psychology, sociology and anthropology, multidisciplines. Unlike Comte, who wanted to guide man in the construction of a better society, Spencer instead desired to show to people through sociology that human beings should not interfere with the natural processes which is going on in societies. Spencer's thought, in fact, was evolutionary in approach and had a strong belief on the nation of the survival of the fittest. Idea of survival of the fittest has been given by Darwin, and this theory Herbert Spencer approach a strong belief in this theory. He was influenced. Darwin argues that the first fittest people are those who are healthy and more intelligent. His evolutionary approach provided the solution of many of the dilemmas faced by the intellectual at that time. Spencer here discussed both with social evolution as well as natural evolution. In the social evolution, he described the involvement of two processes. First, please pay attention, first, movement from simple society to various level of compound society in terms of four evolutionary stages: simple, compound, and doubly compound, and triply compound. Second, the change of militant to industrial society. Natural evolution, to him, is the subject of all universal phenomenon, inorganic, organic, and superorganic. This theory imposed to all things. Organic analogy is one of the important works of Spencer. Spencer here tries to establish a relationship between human society and biological organism. Human society and biological organism, interrelation between these. By making comparison and outlining the differences between the two, he considered society as a superorganic entity, that is an organizational entity over and above the level of the organism. But his understanding about superorganic nature of society has created several problems. He was unable to see culture as part of an integrated whole. He said culture is superorganic. Culture is superorganic. His explanation regarding the social evolution of societies from simple to compound and so on is also considered as faulty. Thomas Schaff accepts his theory as a philosophical theory rather than sociological theory. As we know, every theory is criticized, and Herbert Spencer is also criticized. Like we will learn here, life and works of Herbert Spencer, theory of organic analogy, theory of social evolution, sociology as a science, militant and industrial society, superorganic concept, functionalism and individualism. Herbert Spencer is known as pioneer of social evolutionary theory. Evolutionary were adopted by Spencer before Darwin's in the book of Origin of Species. The British sociologist scientist was a leading figure in the intellectual revolution of 19th century. Spencer in his own time was enormously influential and played a significant role in the development of biology, physiology and every science. And he was born in middle-class family in Derby, England on April 27, 1820. He was the oldest of 9 children and the only one to survive. This was perhaps one of the reasons that he advocated the idea of survival of the fittest in his theory of evolution. His father, William George Spencer, was a schoolmaster of progressive educational views. William George Spencer's influence on his son's attitude and behavior was considerable. Father's non-authoritarian teaching method strongly influenced Spencer's educational theories and democratic discipline in the classroom. Spencer's mother, Harriet, exerted a comparatively little influence on his intellectual development. She was sweet-tempered, submissive, dutiful, and selfless. Spencer never went to a conventional school. Spencer was in fact taught at home by his father and uncle. 7 years before Darwin's Origin of Species, in 1852, he expounded and advocated a theory of evolution based on Lamarckian principle in his article entitled The Development Hypothesis in the journal Leader. Important sociological work has been done by Herbert Spencer. Social Statics, 1851, First Principle, 1862, The Study of Sociology, 1873, Descriptive Sociology, 1890, and Theory of Organic Analogy. Herbert Spencer is best known for his bioorganismic conception of society. According to him, society is not merely a collection of individuals. It is more than that, just as an organism is more than a mere collection of cells. Spencer came to sociology via biology. Therefore, he drew analogy between the society and the biological organism. So, completely is society organized on the same system as an individual? He argued that we may perceive something more than an analogy between them. The same definition of life applied to the both biological and social organism. Spencer believed that the social structure is a living organism. It is made up of parts which can be distinguished but which cannot survive or exist except within the framework of society. Spencer wanted to explain clearly the nature of social structure by the help of this theory. He tried to point out certain striking similarities between the individual living organism and society. The similarities between the society and individual organism as drawn by Herbert Spencer as follows. Different from inanimated bodies. The first similarity between a living organism and society is their difference from inanimated bodies. None of them is inanimate. Inanimate, there is no growth and development, but on the other hand, there is continuous growth and development in both society and living organism. On account of their common difference from the inanimate bodies, society and living organism may be regarded as similar. Increase in quantity lead to change in structure. The second similarity in society and living organism is that increase of quantity in both lead to change in their structure. According to Spencer, as there in increase in the quantity of their living organism, there is change in its structure. The primitive living organism is a unicellular creature, but with the increase in the cell differentiation of organs result at the high level of evolution. The structure of the body becomes quite complex. Similar is the case with society. In the beginning, the structure of society is very simple. At this level, each individual does all the work by himself, and there is no differentiation and division of labor. Each man himself is a craftsman, hunter, a sculptor, etc. But with the quantity increase in society, the structure becomes more and more complex and there is increasing differentiation of function in society. Like the organs of the society, the function in the society become specialized in the same way. Third one is change in structure lead to change in function. With the change in the structure, organs and communities, there result a change in their function. The function become more and more specialized. This applies to the body of a live creature. With the change in the structure of organ, there is change in function. Differentiation as well as harmony of organs. In the same way, society harmony hold true both in the body of living organism and society. Loss of an organ does not necessarily result in the loss of organism. In the same way, similarly, in the society, loss or a particular association does not necessarily mean death of the society. Similar processes and method of organization. There is another similarity between the society and living organism. According to Spencer, as there are various systems, respiratory, circulatory system, and similarly, various systems in the social organism responsible for its efficient functioning in society. Transport system, production and distribution system, etc. fulfill their respective roles. Thus, Spencer has shown similarity between a living organism and the society. And now, differences between social and individual organism, along with pointing the similarities between individual and organism and the society. Herbert Spencer spelled the differences between them. He said the part of animal from a concrete whole, but the part of society from a whole, which is discrete. While the living unit unites, composing the other are bound together. Living units composing other are bound together in close contact. The living units composing the other are free, are not in contact, and are more or less widely dispersed. In other words, the organism is a concrete, integrated whole, whereas society is a whole, composed of discrete and dispersed elements. In the biological organism, consciousness is a small part of the aggregate. In social organism, it is diffused throughout the aggregate. Thus, there are certain crucial differences between the society and living organism which cannot be overlooked. These are: the part of body are incapable of independent existence, but part of society can exist independently. Explaining the difference between a living organism and society, Spencer observed that whereas the various organs of the body are incapable of independent existence, same is not the case with the society. Now, the second point, difference regarding centrality of consciousness. There is another difference between the society and a living organism. The difference pertains to consciousness. In a living organism, there is one central consciousness which is conscious of whole body. There is no separate consciousness and thinking power in the various part of the body. On the other hand, in society, there is no central consciousness, only individual possesses consciousness. Third point, difference regarding dependence of organs and organism. Both the society and individual are organism. The organs of society are individual, family, group, etc. And the part of the body are its various organs. According to Spencer, part of the body are dependent upon the body. Their existence is for the sake of body. On the other hand, in society, its parts are more significant than the society. Spencer maintains that we can understand society best if we compare it with an organism. He thinks that society is like a biological system, a greater organism, alike in its structure and its function. Like an organism, society is also subject to the same process of gradual growth or development from a simple to complex state. Like any organism, society also exhibits differentiation in function and integration of a structure. In this connection, it must be noted that Spencer does not subscribe to the view that society is an organism. He maintains it only as an analogy. Spencer indicates that society resembles an organism in the following important aspects. Both grow or develop gradually, both begins as germ primary. Both exhibit differentiation in structure and function. In both, there also exists close integration or interdependence of parts. Both are composed of units, means cell in case of organism and individual in case of society. In both cases, individual units have no existence apart from the whole. Both have a special sustaining distributive system. Circulation of blood through veins in an organism and circulation of goods through transport and commercial services in a society, and spatial regulating system, nervous system in a mental system in a society. Both as an alimentary system, a special circulatory organism, and governed complex in they grow, become more structured. With the above mentioned, with this description, similarities, there are, however, certain point of dissimilarities and all society, unlike organism, in the following importance, which has been mentioned. In organic growth, nature play a dominant role, and organisms naturally grow. On the other hand, social growth may be checked or stimulated. And the discrete character of social organism and the concrete nature of an animal or organism is another fundamental difference. In an organism, consciousness is concentrated in the small part of the aggregate. In aggregate, that is in the nervous system, while in a society is diffused throughout the whole aggregate. In brief, Spencer made a fruitful attempt to establish a theory of organic analogy on the basis of evolutionary principles by making a detailed analysis of similarities and differences between human society and biological organisms. And in later writing, Spencer used the organic analogy and continued to build his theory of evolution. Now, we are going to study about social evolution. This theory of social evolution is described in first principles, the most important contribution of Herbert Spencer to sociology, however, is the theory of evolution. In the Herbert Spencer words, evolution is an integration of matter and concomitant dissipation of motion, during which the matter passes from an indefinite incoherent homogeneity to definite coherent heterogeneity, and during which the retained notion undergoes a parallel transformation. Within this framework of universal evolution, Spencer developed his three basic laws and his four secondary propositions, catch building upon each and all upon the doctrine of evolution. The three basic laws are the law of persistence of force, ultimate cause. The law, and second one is the law of indestructibility of matter. Third one is the law of continuity of motion. These three are the basic law. Law of persistence of force, law of indestructibility of matter, law of continuity of motion. And four secondary law are persistence of relationship between their force or uniformity of force, transformation and equivalence of forces, tendency of everything to move along the line of least resistance and greatest attraction, the principle of alteration or rhythm of motion, and further explain theory of explanation of this law. Force tend to the following is the force tends to persist. According to the first law of energy, there is no diminution or increase in the energy in the course of evolutionary change. There are force exist in society. The matter is indestructibility. Motion is always there. And uniformity of all law. According to Spencer, there must be harmony among the various laws of evolution. No two laws should contradictory. Principle of formal change and uniformity. According to this law, neither matter nor motion are ever completely destroyed. These undergo changes in form only. Of course, even quantum of matter and motion remain static. Principle of least resistance and great attraction. According to this third law of evolution, the direction of evolution is always toward the link of least resistance or greatest attraction. Principle of continuity of motion. For evolutionary motion is essential. It is not required that motion should be at on level all the time. It may speed up or slow down, but motion is compulsory. According to Herbert Spencer, the knowable universe consists of material aggregate which are always in a condition of incessant change. There is an universal tendency for element to move from a condition of unstable equilibrium to a stable state of equilibrium. The homogeneous is a condition of unstable equilibrium and must become heterogeneous. Correspondingly, the simple must become compound and doubly compound and so on. Thus change involves transition from homogeneity to heterogeneity and uniformity to multiform. Spencer noted social organization is at first vague, advanced, bring settled arrangement which grow slowly more, which while gaining fixity and also become more specific in their application. And there is progress toward greater size, coherence, multiformity and definiteness. So, in this theory, we just understand that evolution is an integration of motion and concomitant dissipation of motion, during which matter passes from indefinite, incoherent homogeneity to definite, coherent heterogeneity. Indefinite, incoherent homogeneity to definite, coherent heterogeneity. Now we will talk about superorganic concept. Spencer's concept of superorganic is very important, which got wide attention from social thinkers. After inorganic evolution, that is orderly change in astronomical and geological phenomena, comes organic evolution or orderly change in the vegetable and animal world. Superorganic evolution behind with all those processes and products which imply the coordinate action of many individuals. The dividing line between organic and superorganic evolution is necessarily indistinct, since the latter developed is an evolutionary way out of the former. Superorganic evolution implies cooperation between classes of living form which have unlike structure and consequent unlike function. With this thread of analysis, A.L. Kroeber makes the superorganic concept a fourth order of phenomena. His classification of order of phenomena is as follows: inorganic phenomena, vital organic phenomena, mental organic phenomena, and superorganic phenomena. So then in the domain of superorganic phenomena falls culture and history. Spencer pointed out that as a result of superorganic evolution, a tremendous amount of superorganic products like material, appliances, language, knowledge, customs, mythologies, theologies, cosmology, literature and histories has accumulated in course of time, and which exert an immensely voluminous, immensely complicated and immensely powerful set of influence on human being, modifying both individual and society. Now, function and individual. Herbert Spencer is considered as both functionalist. Now we are talking about the functionalism of Herbert Spencer that is associated with individualism. Herbert Spencer is considered as both functionalist as well as evolutionist. Function for Spencer is inevitable for society, and this school became center stage for theoretical orientation in sociology. He wrote in 1876 in volume 3rd of his Principle of Sociology on the utility and usefulness of function. In his word, there can be no true conception of a structure without a true conception of its function. At the same time, society has greater role to play for the benefit of its member. Spencer states that society exists for the benefit of its members, not its members for the benefit of society. The claim of the body politic are nothing in themselves and become something only insofar as they embody the claims of competent individual. The individual in Spencerian theory thus get maximum freedom and self-determination for the interest of societal progress. In Spencer's analysis, structure and function are interdependent and interlinked to each other. Spencer emphasized that a change in the profile of a structure occurred with the change its function. He rightly pointed out changes of a structure cannot occur without changes in function. If organization consists in such construction of the whole that its part can carry on mutually dependent action, then in proportion as organization is high, there must go a dependence of each part upon the rest so great that separation is fatal. And conversely, this truth is equally well shown in the individual organism and in the social organism. Spencer was by nature not only functionalist but also an individualist. Their many essential components are necessary for the determination of characteristics of whole society, and that fundamental characteristics is the individual. In this regard, Spencer conceived that society would work as a vehicle for the enhancement of individual purposes. Spencer stated just the kind of individuality will be acquired which find in the most highly organized community the fittest sphere for its manifestation. The ultimate man will be one whose private requirements coincide with public ones. He will be that manner of man who is spontaneously fulfilling his own nature incidentally performed. The best society there is a society that applies the least control on the individual. For functionalist approach of Spencer, if society is to evolve into higher and more advanced social structure and function, it must move from the simple to the complex activities of society, which is related to the movement from lesser military stage to more industrial societies, are problematic and difficult. However, the construction of his functional approach gives a broader understanding of various parts of society. In brief, the relation between man and his constituent cell is the equivalent of the relation between society and its constituent cell. Man, this is an analogy of scale and strongly suggest the continuity of all phenomena, continually all phenomena. So, this is Herbert Spencer, functionalist approach and individualistic approach. Herbert Spencer, in conclusion, we could understand that Herbert Spencer has been work on evolutionary theory, superorganic theory, analogy. All the best.